What if the life you dream of isn't waiting on your talent? What if it's waiting on your grit? Your stubborn refusal to quit? Your quiet fire that keeps burning even when the world stops believing in you? Because the truth is simple. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they stop too early. But not you. Not anymore. Today, inside this Read and Rise Book Club deep dive, we're pulling open the top secret behind winners and the greatest psychological edge you'll ever have. The power of passion and perseverance. This is the message at the heart of Angela Duckworth's groundbreaking book Grit. And by the time we finish, you will feel it in your bones. The moment everything changes. Close your eyes and picture this. You're standing at the starting line of your own life. Behind you, every unfinished project. Every abandoned dream. Every moment you said, maybe later. Ahead of you, a long road, uneven, unpredictable, and stretching so far you can't see the end. And then, beside you, a voice, calm, steady, unshakable. It says, you don't need to be the fastest. You just need to keep going. This is the voice of grit. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. But it is powerful. Powerful enough to shape destinies, rebuild identities, and create extraordinary lives out of ordinary beginnings. Today, we're stepping into that journey. You and I, or page by page, principle by principle, uncovering the psychology, the story, the fire inside grit that has reshaped how the world understands human potential. Because grit isn't something reserved for the gifted. Grit is built. Grit is trained. Grit is chosen. And starting today, it's becoming your new default. The journey we're about to take. Today we will be dividing this book into chapters, each unpacking a core element of grit. 1. Passion, the steady flame, not the instant spark. 2. Practice, the deliberate grind that rewires your potential. 3. Purpose, the deeper reason that makes effort meaningful. 4. Hope, the self-belief that turns setbacks into fuel. 5. Grit growth, how to build grit on purpose, day by day. Every chapter will include real internal shifts and actionable steps you can take immediately. By the time you finish this entire series, you'll not only understand grit, you will feel it reshaping who you are. Why grit matters more than talent. Angela Duckworth opens with a revelation. The people who rise to excellence, the true outliers, aren't the ones who start with the highest talent. They're the ones who stay when others leave. They push when others pause. They fail, recalibrate, and continue forward. Think about that for a moment. In a world obsessed with speed, talent, shortcuts, and quick wins, Duckworth discovered the complete opposite. The slow, persistent climbers almost always win, not because they are extraordinary, but because they stay long enough to become extraordinary. Imagine what would shift in your life if you embraced that truth. Imagine realizing that every struggle you face is actually the training ground for greatness. Imagine knowing, deeply knowing, that your best life isn't limited by what you were born with, but built through what you are willing to commit to. That's not motivational fluff. It's the empirical backbone of the book you're holding today. And in this long-form breakdown, we're going beyond the surface, into the science, the storytelling, and the action steps that will challenge every excuse that has held you back until now. The I could be more moment. Everyone reaches a point where they feel it, that whisper inside saying, I could be more, I could do more, I could rise higher. But there is always a second whisper, too. But what if I'm not good enough? The battle between these two voices is where grit is born. Duckworth's research reveals something almost magical. People with grit don't silence the second voice. They simply outcommit it. They choose progress over perfection, consistency over intensity, long-term purpose over short-term emotion. Grit isn't about being fearless. Grit is the ability to feel fear and move anyway. Grit is caring so deeply about something that discomfort becomes irrelevant. And that's where your story begins today. Not with talent, not with luck, but with a decision that this time you're not quitting. The journey we're about to take. Today we will be dividing this book into chapters, each unpacking a core element of grit. 1. Passion, the steady flame, not the instant spark. 2. Practice, the deliberate grind that rewires your potential. 3. Purpose, the deeper reason that makes effort meaningful. 4. Hope, the self-belief that turns setbacks into fuel. 5. Grit growth, how to build grit on purpose, day by day. Every chapter will include real internal shifts and actionable steps you can take immediately. By the time you finish this entire series, you'll not only understand grit, you will feel it reshaping who you are. This is where you commit. Before we step into part 2, I want you to answer one question, silently or out loud. Where in my life have I been quitting too soon? Hold that answer. We're going to use it as the anchor for the entire journey ahead. Because grit isn't built in theory. Grit is built in the places where your comfort zone breaks and your identity begins. Quick pause. If you're getting value from this video, go ahead and hit like button right now and subscribe to join this community of growth-minded people. We're building something powerful here, and I want you to be part of it. Chapter 1. Passion. The long game of loving something enough to stay when it gets hard. The myth of the lightning strike. Picture this. You're watching someone who seems born for greatness. Their talent looks effortless. Their path looks predestined. And everything in you whispers, they just have something I don't. Angela Duckworth starts by dismantling this illusion. Because passion, real passion, doesn't arrive in a lightning strike. It doesn't burst into your life like fireworks. It doesn't knock you off your feet with clarity. Real passion is quieter, slower, more faithful. It's the shadow that follows you for years before you notice it. It's the small spark that refuses to die. It's the thing you return to, even after frustration, confusion, or embarrassment. People expect passion to feel like fire. Duckworth shows us it begins more like embers. Passion is discovered, not assigned. Here's one of the book's most powerful truths. Nobody is born with a perfect map of what they love. Yet so many people are ashamed because they haven't found their passion yet. As if passion is something you're supposed to magically know by age 18. Or 25. Or even 30. Duckworth's research reveals the opposite. Passion grows over time. Passion emerges through curiosity. Passion strengthens through engagement. Passion becomes a compass only after you've walked the terrain. So if you've ever felt behind, you're not behind. You're human. Grit begins with permission. Permission to be a beginner. Permission to explore. Permission to not have every answer yet. The first thread. Imagine being handed a single thread. You don't know what it leads to. You don't know what it connects to. You're not even sure why you're holding it. But something, even something tiny, pulls you forward. Maybe it's an interest that keeps resurfacing. Maybe it's a skill you secretly wish you were good at. Maybe it's a curiosity you've learned to silence because life got loud. Passion starts with the courage to follow that thread. It doesn't matter if it leads to a masterpiece or a dead end. Every step clarifies your direction. Every attempt sharpens your taste. Every experiment teaches you what resonates with your soul. Passion isn't one leap. It's thousands of micro steps that slowly reveal. This is what I'm meant to build. The 3 stages of passion. These are essential and deeply freeing. 1. Interest, the spark. This is the stage nobody takes seriously enough. Interest is the soft nudge. The curiosity. The this feels different. Duckworth emphasizes that gritty people didn't start with clarity. They started with a spark and allowed themselves to explore it. 2. Practice, the deepening. At this stage, passion becomes more intentional. You begin repeating, refining, improving, even when it's not fun. This is the stage most people quit. Because this is where challenges appear. But gritty people stay. Not because it's easy, but because something inside them says, this matters. 3. Purpose, the fusion. The most powerful evolution happens when your passion stops being self-focused. It becomes something that serves others. It becomes something that matters beyond you. Purpose transforms passion from a hobby to a calling, from interest to identity. The "I should have figured this out by now" lie. If you've ever said, I don't know my passion, I'm not sure what I'm meant to do, everyone else seems further ahead, this chapter is your antidote. Duckworth teaches that passion is messy, non-linear, evolving, built over years, not discovered in a moment. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are in progress. And progress is the birthplace of grit. Building passion the grit way. If you want passion that endures, you must follow these 4 steps. 1. Chase curiosity, not clarity. Clarity comes later. Curiosity comes first. Follow what interests you, even if it's small. 2. Experiment without judgment. Give yourself permission to suck at something in the beginning. Every master was once a beginner. 3. Revisit what you can't stop thinking about. Patterns reveal passion. What you return to repeatedly matters. 4. Commit long enough to outgrow the awkward stage. Most people quit during awkwardness. Gritty people stay long enough for passion to deepen. If you want passion, you must stay. Think about your own life. How many things have you abandoned too quickly? A project that mattered. A dream you once believed in. A goal you were excited to pursue. A curiosity you never explored. A skill you didn't allow yourself to develop. Passion does not reveal itself to quitters. It reveals itself to returners. The ones who come back. The ones who keep showing up. The ones who give it enough time to grow. If you want passion, you must stay long enough to experience the transformation. Action steps. Write down 3 things you've always been curious about, even slightly. Just curiosity, not commitment, not mastery, not responsibility. These are the seeds. We're going to grow them in later chapters. Part 3 will take us into the second core pillar. Practice, the deliberate, uncomfortable, transformative grind that builds mastery. Chapter 2, Practice. The deliberate, uncomfortable, transformative grind that builds mastery. The quietest room in the world. Imagine walking into a room where no one is clapping for you. No one is noticing you. No one is impressed. And there is no applause, no praise, no instant results. There's just you, your effort, and the practice you don't want to do today. Angela Duckworth calls this the hidden world of gritty achievers. The place where greatness is born long before anyone sees it. Not in spotlight moments. Not in breakthroughs. Not in big opportunities. But in the quiet discipline of showing up again and again and again. This is where grit becomes unbeatable. This is where average becomes exceptional. This is where long-term success begins. What makes practice gritty? Most people practice just enough to get comfortable. Gritty people practice to get better, especially when it's uncomfortable. Duckworth reveals something crucial. Ordinary practice maintains your level. Deliberate practice raises your level. The difference? Massive. What is ordinary practice? Doing what you already know. Staying where you feel confident. Repeating familiar moves. Avoiding mistakes. What is deliberate practice? Operating at the edge of your ability. Embracing mistakes as data. Repeating until your brain rewires. Targeting weaknesses with precision. Pushing past boredom and frustration. Deliberate practice is the grit workout. It is discomfort on purpose. It is an effort with intention. And it is the single most transformative habit in the research Duckworth shares. The unseen hours. Picture an athlete training alone before sunrise. Picture a musician practicing the same measure for the 200th time. Picture a writer rewriting a single paragraph for 3 hours. Nobody sees those hours. Nobody praises those moments. Nobody cheers for repetition. But these hours are where skill is sharpened so intensely that later the world mistakes it for talent. Duckworth's research shows the truly extraordinary are distinguished not by innate gifts, but by how long they spend in this room of unseen effort. If passion gives you the reason, practice gives you the results. The science that changes everything. Duckworth draws heavily on Anders Ericsson's concept of deliberate practice. And here's what matters. 1. Deliberate practice changes the brain. It thickens neural pathways. It speeds up processing. It automates complex abilities. 2. Improvement requires discomfort. If you're comfortable, you're not improving. If you're repeating what you already can do, you're not growing. 3. Skill acquisition is a byproduct of targeted effort. Not talent. Not luck. Not birthright. Effort, gritty, intentional, structured effort, is the fuel. The 2 equations that define grit. Duckworth introduces 2 equations that redefine success. Talent along with effort equals skill. Your ability may give you a starting point, but effort multiplies it. Skill along with effort equals achievement. Once you have skill, effort multiplies it again. Meaning, effort counts twice. This is the moment readers feel something shift, because it means your destiny is not capped by your talent. It is expanded by your effort. You can outpractice the naturally gifted. You can outlast the talented. You can rise higher than people who started ahead of you, simply by applying effort that counts twice. The fear of imperfect practice. Let's be honest. Most people don't avoid practice because it's boring. They avoid it because it exposes their weaknesses. It feels vulnerable to face what you're not good at. It feels uncomfortable to admit your gaps. It feels heavy to confront how far you have to go. But Duckworth reveals a powerful truth. Gritty people don't fear weaknesses. They hunt them. They know every weakness is a doorway to improvement. They know every mistake is a compass pointing toward growth. They know every frustration is a sign they're working in the right zone. This chapter trains you to see difficulty not as a threat, but as a signal. This is the exact place where I grow. How to practice the grit way. To truly build grit, practice must become 1. Structured. You must know what you're practicing and why. Vague effort produces vague outcomes. 2. Purposefully hard. Do not practice the easy parts. Target the exact area that challenges you. 3. Repetitive on purpose. Repetition is not boring, it is brain building. 4. Feedback driven. Gritty people seek feedback early and often. Not for validation, but for correction. 5. Daily. Consistency beats intensity. 5 days of small practice beats 1 day of heroic effort. This is how grit becomes skill, and skill becomes strength. The hard thing rule, Duckworth's signature practice principle. Angela Duckworth introduces a rule her family lives by. Everyone must choose a hard thing, and they must practice it consistently, and they cannot quit just because it's hard. You don't choose it for someone else, and you don't quit halfway through the commitment. This builds discipline, responsibility, resilience. It creates the habit of sticking with something long enough to see yourself evolve. You can adopt this rule today. Choose one hard thing. Commit to a time frame. Practice deliberately, and refuse to quit early. The practice that builds your future self. Imagine this. Every day you practice your hard thing. You're shaping the future version of yourself. The stronger, more capable, more disciplined you. Instead of asking, "What am I good at?" ask, "What am I willing to practice until I become great?" This is the grit shift. This is the identity flip. This is where your life trajectory begins to tilt upward. Action steps. Choose one hard thing you will practice deliberately for the next 30 days. Nothing extreme. Something meaningful. Something just beyond your current ability. Write it down. Commit to it. This is your practice ground for grit. Next part 4 will take us into the most emotionally charged and life-altering pillar. Purpose. When what you do serves something bigger than you, your grit explodes. Chapter 3. Purpose. The moment your effort begins to matter beyond yourself. The day you realize it's not just about you. Picture this moment. You're standing in front of the work you've been grinding at, the passion you've been nurturing, the skill you've been sharpening, and suddenly, a thought hits you. This could help someone. It's no longer just a dream you're chasing. It's no longer just a goal you're pursuing. It becomes something bigger. Something that expands beyond your identity, your comfort, your ego. This is the moment grit transforms. Duckworth's research shows that gritty people have a secret. They tie their pursuit to purpose, something that contributes, uplifts, serves, or solves. It's not about grand gestures. It's not about saving the world. It's about meaning. Purpose deepens perseverance. Purpose anchors passion. Purpose stabilizes discipline. When you're fueled by purpose, quitting stops being an option. Not because it's hard, but because it's unthinkable. The 3 layers of purpose, Duckworth's framework. Duckworth breaks purpose down into 3 layers, each more powerful than the last. 1. Self-oriented meaning. The work matters to you. It aligns with your values, interests, identity. 2. Contribution-oriented meaning. The work matters to someone else. It helps, supports, elevates, encourages, teaches, builds, or inspires. 3. Purpose-driven commitment. The work matters to the world, even in a small way. It carries significance beyond your personal success. Grit thrives at layer 3. Why? Because when your purpose becomes bigger than your discomfort shrinks. The invisible audience you serve. Close your eyes. Imagine working on something hard, a project, a dream, a path. You're tired. You're unsure. You're frustrated. Then picture a single person out there, unseen, unknown. Someone who will one day benefit from the effort you push through today. Maybe they'll learn from you. Maybe they'll be inspired by you. Maybe they'll be helped by what you create. Maybe they'll be lifted because you refuse to quit. And suddenly, the hard moment is no longer heavy. It's meaningful. This is how gritty people think. They imagine the people they will serve. They imagine the impact they will create. They imagine the purpose that gives their effort weight. Your life becomes bigger when your effort serves more than just you. Why purpose supercharges grit? Duckworth's research reveals something stunning. People who tie their passion to purpose persevere significantly longer than those who focus on personal achievement alone. Here's why. Purpose creates emotional endurance. Struggle is easier when it means something. Purpose gives context to pain. Difficulties feel like part of a mission, not obstacles. Purpose energizes resilience. You don't just rise for yourself, you rise for others. Purpose transforms your identity. I want to succeed becomes I'm meant to serve. That shift changes everything. The deepest human need. Humans crave meaning. We crave contribution. We crave the feeling of mattering. Think about the moments in your life when you felt most alive. Most proud. Most connected. Were they moments of personal victory? Or moments where your effort made a difference? Purpose is not a luxury. Purpose is oxygen. Grit ignites when you breathe that truth. How to find purpose? Purpose is not found, it's built through alignment. Here's the framework gritty people use. 1. Ask, who benefits when I don't quit? Purpose starts with people. Who will your effort help? 2. Attach your passion to service. Your skills become more meaningful when they serve others. 3. Look for contribution, not perfection. Purpose doesn't demand flawless work, just helpful work. 4. Make purpose part of your daily discipline. Before you begin your work, ask, how will this act of effort help someone today? Purpose is a lens. The more you look through it, the more you see. What your life looks like when purpose guides you. Imagine waking up each day with a sense that your work matters. Not in a vague, fluffy motivational way, but in a real, grounded, undeniable way. Imagine looking at your goals and thinking, someone needs me to keep going. Imagine knowing your setbacks are a part of the service. Your growth is a gift to others. Your perseverance is an example someone else will one day depend on. This is the grit of purpose. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not glamorous. But it is unshakable. It is stable. It is powerful. Purpose is the anchor that holds you when storms try to break you. Action steps. Write down the name or description of one person your perseverance could help. This could be 1. A younger version of you. 2. A family member. 3. A future student or client. 4. Someone struggling with what you overcame. 5. The community you want to serve. Purpose becomes real when you attach it to someone real. Next part 5 will take us into the most uplifting and surprising pillar of grit. Hope. The form of belief that makes you rise instead of quit, the kind of optimism that is earned, not wished for. Chapter 4. Hope. The belief that your effort today can create a better tomorrow. The moment life knocks you down, picture yourself on the ground. Not metaphorically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You've been working hard. You've been pushing. You've been fighting for your dream, your purpose, your goal. And then, life hits you with something you didn't expect. A setback, a failure, a rejection, a disappointment, a silence where you were praying for a breakthrough. This is where most people quit. Not because they lack passion, not because they lack talent, but because they lack hope, the belief that their effort still matters. Angela Duckworth makes something profoundly clear. Grit is not possible without hope. Not the shallow, positive vibes kind, but the deeper, more resilient kind. The kind forged in adversity. The definition of hope. Duckworth redefines hope in a way that breaks every cliché. Hope equals I can improve. Hope equals my effort makes a difference. Hope equals this setback is not the end. Hope is the belief that you have agency, that you can influence the future through your actions. This hope isn't emotional. It's behavioral. It's practical. It's gritty. It's survival-grade optimism. It's the ability to look at failure and say two powerful words: not yet. The science of gritty hope. Duckworth identifies 3 psychological pillars that build gritty hope. 1. Growth mindset. The belief that skills and abilities can be developed. People with grit don't ask, "Am I talented enough?" They ask, "How can I get better?" 2. Learned industriousness. When you work hard and see progress, your brain learns. Effort works. That creates a loop of motivation. Effort, progress, motivation, more effort. 3. Learned optimism. The ability to interpret setbacks as temporary, specific, and changeable, not permanent or personal. Grit grows when you face difficulty and say, "This is fixable. This is temporary. I can change this." This kind of hope is a muscle. It strengthens every time you choose to rise instead of quit. The not yet window. Imagine standing at a window overlooking a storm. Everything is dark. Everything feels stuck. Everything looks overwhelming. But on the glass, someone has written 2 words with their finger. Not yet. Not yet means you aren't done. You aren't finished. You aren't defeated. You are simply in progress. Gritty hope reframes reality. Not through delusion. Not through forced positivity. But through a belief that you still have choices. Still have power. Still have a future worth fighting for. The grit response to failure. Duckworth's research shows that gritty individuals interpret failure differently. People who quit think, "This means I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. What's the point?" Gritty people think, "This didn't work yet. What can I try next? How can I improve? What's the lesson inside this?" Where others see endings, they see beginnings disguised as setbacks. Hope allows them to stand back up, again, and again, and again. The dark season of effort. Everyone goes through a season where things stop working, where effort feels invisible, where progress feels impossible, where dreams feel too far. But here is the key. Your dark season is not your dead end. Duckworth teaches that gritty hope is not about avoiding hardship. It is about interpreting hardship through a lens of possibility. You don't pretend everything is fine. You simply refuse to believe it is final. This is the birthplace of resilience. This is the foundation of perseverance. This is how hope transforms your future. How to build gritty hope. Hope can be trained. Here's how gritty people do it. 1. Replace "I can't" with "I can learn." Shift from helplessness to possibility. 2. Replace "I failed" with "I'm improving." Failure becomes feedback. 3. Replace "this is permanent" with "this is temporary." You refuse to freeze your future in the shape of your current moment. 4. Replace "why me" with "what now." You move from victim mindset to action mindset. These small cognitive shifts create massive emotional endurance. What life feels like with hope in your corner. Imagine looking at a setback and not collapsing. Imagine facing uncertainty and still feeling grounded. Imagine trying something new and not fearing mistakes. Imagine rising every time you fall, not out of pride, but out of purpose, belief, and grit. Hope doesn't erase the storm. It simply gives you the courage to walk through it. Hope doesn't guarantee success. It guarantees persistence. And persistence, Duckworth proves, is the strongest predictor of long-term achievement. Action steps. Take a moment and write down one area of your life where you've lost hope. Now rewrite the story using the 3 gritty hope principles. 1. This struggle is temporary. 2. This challenge is specific, not universal. 3. I can improve with effort. You have just taken the first step toward rebuilding your gritty hope. Next, part 6 will enter the final transformation. The grit growth model. How to build grit intentionally, day by day, for the rest of your life. This final section will be powerful, strategic, cinematic, and transformative. Chapter 5. The Grit Growth Model. How to build a life defined by passion, practice, purpose, and hope. The version of you that exists on the other side of effort. Picture a mirror. But not the mirror in your bedroom. Not the mirror you glance at on your way out the door. Imagine a mirror that doesn't reflect who you are today, but reflects who you could be if you fully committed yourself. A stronger you. A more disciplined you. A more focused, more patient, more capable, more resilient you. That version of yourself is not imaginary. It is not distant. It is not unreachable. Angela Duckworth's work shows us that the gritty version of yourself isn't something you find. It is something you grow. And you grow it through a model that is both simple and life-altering. Passion leads to practice, which in turn leads to purpose. Then purpose leading to hope. Repeat the cycle. This cycle is the engine of growth. It is the staircase that leads you upward, even when life tries to push you down. The grit growth model are explained. Duckworth's research reveals that grit is not a trait you're born with. It's a system you build deliberately, one layer strengthening the next. 1. Passion, the fire that starts your journey. Not a fleeting spark. Not chaotic excitement. But a steady, consistent interest that grows deeper over time. Without passion, you lose direction. Without practice, you lose progress. 2. Practice, the discipline that shapes your skill. Deliberate practice is the grind that builds mastery. You face weaknesses on purpose. You target your limits with intention. You embrace repetition without applause. Without practice, passion becomes potential without progress. 3. Purpose, the meaning that gives your life weight. Purpose transforms your effort into contribution. It aligns your work with something larger than yourself. It makes quitting feel like abandoning more than just a goal. Without purpose, perseverance fades. 4. Hope, the belief that fuels your perseverance. Hope is the confidence that your effort can create change. It reframes failure as not yet. It sustains you when results take longer than expected. Without hope, you stop rising after you fall. The loop continues. Hope reinforces passion. Passion fuels practice. Practice strengthens purpose. Purpose deepens hope. Round and round. Year after year. Until grit becomes part of your character. The climb that never ends. Picture a mountain. Not the kind you conquer in a day. Not the kind with a single summit. This mountain has trails that lead to higher and higher peaks. Each more challenging, more breathtaking, more demanding. Every time you reach a new summit, you don't stop. You see another peak beyond it. This is the life of someone who grows grit. Not chasing perfection, but embracing progress. Not climbing for applause, but climbing because it deepens who you are. Grit isn't about reaching a finish line. It's about becoming someone who never stops climbing. The science of building grit. Duckworth reveals that grit increases through 3 powerful mechanisms. 1. Interest deepening. The more time you spend on something you care about, the more meaningful it becomes. 2. Skill expansion through deliberate practice. The more skilled you become, the more rewarding your passion feels. 3. Identity formation. Eventually, your effort becomes who you are. You don't just do gritty things. You see yourself as a gritty person. Identity drives behavior. And once you identify with grit, your actions follow automatically. Becoming the person you once needed. Think about who you were 5 years ago. Hungry for change. Desperate for direction. Hoping for someone to tell you the path forward. You are becoming the person that younger you prayed for. Not by accident. Not by luck. But by choosing grit every day, in small ways. This chapter is not about achievement. It's about evolution. It's about rising into the kind of person who follows through, stays committed, grows consistently, persists through storms, leads with purpose, believes in effort, refuses to be defined by setbacks. Grit is not the result. It is the identity you step into. The 4 habits that build grit. Duckworth's action principles. Duckworth provides actionable guidance on how to build grit intentionally. 1. Develop a passion that's consistent, not chaotic. Choose something you're willing to explore, refine, and commit to. Let your passion mature. Let it compound. 2. Embrace deliberate practice daily. Find the edge of your ability. Work there on purpose. Repeat with intention. Seek feedback relentlessly. Mastery is the reward. 3. Connect what you do to something larger. Ask daily, how does this effort help someone? Purpose is fuel. Purpose is stability. Purpose is grit's deepest root. 4. Train hope through action, not emotion. Hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is the confidence you earn through effort. You strengthen hope every time you rise instead of quit. The day you realize you've changed. It happens quietly. You wake up one morning and realize you're making choices differently. You finish what you start. You show up even when no one sees. You push through discomfort. You seek growth instead of validation. You rise after failure with new determination. This is the moment grit becomes integrated. It stops being something you're trying to build and becomes the way you live. You don't just act with grit. You are grit. Action steps. To integrate the grit growth model into your life, complete this exercise. Write your grit growth plan using this structure. 1. My passion. What am I willing to explore long term? 2. My practice plan. What deliberate practice will I commit to daily or weekly? 3. My purpose. Who benefits when I don't quit? 4. My hope statement. How will I remind myself that my effort matters? This becomes your blueprint, the document that guides your transformation. Let's dive deep with the final chapter 2. Rise one more time and be victorious in life. Rise one more time. The moment you become unstoppable. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You're standing in the center of your life, surrounded by every challenge, every failure, every setback, every moment of doubt you have ever lived through. Now zoom out, because behind you is not a graveyard of attempts. It is a trail of resilience, a trail of courage, a trail of decisions you made to keep going when quitting would have been easier. And in front of you, a horizon that is still unwritten, a future that is waiting for you to show up with everything you now know. Your passion, your perseverance, your purpose, your hope. This is the moment you stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I don't quit this time? Angela Duckworth's message is simple, powerful, and life-altering. Our potential is one thing. What we do with it is another. You already have potential. You always did. But now you have something even more valuable. A blueprint for grit. You know what passion means. You know what deliberate practice requires. You know what purpose gives you. You know what hope demands. And now comes the only question that matters. What will you rise for? What is that dream you buried? What is that goal you abandoned because it got hard? What is that version of yourself you stopped believing you could become? Today, right now, in this moment, you have permission to restart. You have permission to pick the goal back up. You have permission to try again. You have permission to become relentless. You have permission to become the gritty version of yourself that life has been waiting for. Because grit is not a talent, not a gift, not a blessing. Grit is a decision. A decision you will make again and again and again, especially when it's not convenient. But that is exactly how you rise. The final challenge for you right now, before this video ends, before you scroll to anything else, before your attention scatters, I want you to choose one goal. The one that matters. The one you've avoided. The one that scares you because it's meaningful. Write it down. Then write the next gritty step you will take within the next 24 hours. Not next week. Not someday. Not after things calm down. Within the next 24 hours. Because grit is not built in the future. It is built in the present. You don't become gritty later. You become gritty now. And when you do, you join the small, powerful group of people who refuse to waste their lives on almosts, maybes, and unfinished things. You become the kind of person who follows through. You become the kind of person others look to for strength. You become the kind of person who rises over and over, no matter how many times you fall. And that is how you change your life. Rise. Rise now. Rise again tomorrow. Rise until grit becomes the ground you walk on. Rise until the world can feel your purpose. Rise until your effort becomes your legacy. This is your moment. This is your climb. This is your life. Read and rise. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and share it with someone who'd love it too and needs a little inspiration today. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. Together, we're building a community of learners, dreamers, and achievers. Let's keep growing, one habit at a time, one video at a time. Remember, your journey starts with one choice, and you just made it by being here.